Hi everyone, welcome back to Humblesasquatchyoga. I'm Ross. Today we're going to work on our hamstrings and hips. Should be about a 20 to 30 minute practice today. This is a big problem for people with low back issues, obviously hip issues, but the lateral hamstrings and IT bands are really big for people with low back issues, which is a big part of our society. So I hope this helps. What we're going to do is we're going to start in a seated cross-legged position, Sukhasana. We're going to inhale, and on an exhale, we're going to start to walk our hands out in front of us. Really slowly warming up the spine. The last thing to fall will be your head. On an inhale, start to bring the head up so the neck is a little bit more neutral. And just start to walk your hands over to the right. Now, as you fold forward, you want to try to keep that left sit bone on the mat. Now start to make your way through center, back over to the left. Now, come back to center. You can fold in a little bit more this time. On your next inhale, engage your core. Come back up to seated. Now we're going to move over. We're going to face the top of our mat. We're going to get the rocks off our mat. And we're going to do some cat-cow. We're going to start with cow. Push our hands in towards the mat. Hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips. We're going to broaden our shoulders down and back. Lower our navel down to the mat. Arching our head up, looking up towards the sky on an inhale. And exhale in the cat pose. Navel to spine, reaching towards the sky. Now do 2 more of these on your breath. Now inhale, come back up to cow. And exhale, tuck your toes and come into downward facing dog. Feel free to step out your back feet. Kind of warming up the calves, a little bit in the hamstrings. Kind of like to do this and just get them nice and warmed up. All right, from downward dog, we're going to lift our right leg high to the sky. We're going to flex our knee, flex our ankle, and bring our knee back into scorpion. Now from here, do a few hip rotations with your leg. And reverse it. And come back to downward facing dog. Now bring our left foot to the sky, flexing our ankle and our knee, and just do some rotations. And reverse it. And back to downward facing dog. From here, we're going to rotate our heels, both heels to the right, and get a nice stretch in the side of our right leg. Shooting your hips up towards the sky, ears between your elbows, shoulders back. Inhale, come through center and down to the other side. Come back to downward facing dog. Now walk your feet to meet your hands into a forward fold. You can ragdoll here by taking each hand and grabbing the opposite elbow, or you can just fold. Folding at your hips. Take whatever time you need to warm up your hamstrings. On your next inhale, we're going to engage our core, come up to high mountain, lower into mountain, Tadasana. Inhale, windmill your left arm back, left leg back into warrior two. Making sure your front knee is over your front ankle. Hips are square, so they're both facing the same direction. Arms are at shoulder height. Shoulders are down and back in their pockets. Gaze over the front fingers. Make sure those legs are engaged, keeping that knee above the ankle, and come into extended side angle. Now, the key here is to gently rest your right forearm on your thigh. Not really putting a lot of weight into it, just resting it there. And you're trying to create space between your arm and your torso. And by doing that, you create a stretch along the left rib cage. And that left hand is reaching to the sky. You can keep your head neutral, or you can look up to the sky with your left hand. On your next inhale, come back up to warrior two. Now start to straighten your front leg and move your torso forward as one unit, keeping your arms level, and then lower into triangle. This is a good spot for a block if you need a little assistance. But you should be engaging the legs, which really help hold you up. I don't need that there, so I'm going to move it. Now come back up into Warrior Two. Put some weight on the back foot and step forward into Tadasana, mountain pose. Now, we're going to do tree pose. I'm going to turn to face you from here. So, with tree pose, you can go like this if you don't have good balance, if you're still working on it. Your right leg is like a lamppost, completely engaged from your ankle down to your glute. Your toes should be not really pushing to the ground. You're putting most of the weight on the rest of your foot. So your leg is engaged. Now, your left foot can come up against your right foot and just try to balance on your right foot. It can come just right on the outside of the calf, or it can come above the knee against the thigh. Now, the thing is, you don't want to put it on the knee because that's putting unneeded pressure on the joint. So I'm going to stay here. My left foot is kicking into my inside of my right thigh, and my right thigh is pressing back into my right foot, which is engaging my whole core. And then I just bring my hands to heart center. And I'm starting to lose it, so I'm going to come out of it. Now from here, you could have stayed at the top of your mat. So from here, we're going to windmill our right arm and right foot back at the same time, coming into Warrior Two on the other side. How's the view, huh? So again, right knee or left knee over my left ankle. My shoulders are down and back. The back foot, you want the outer edge of the back foot to have more of the weight. You want your arch of the inside of the foot slightly lifted. So with my hands at shoulder height, my shoulders tucked back, my gaze goes over the left fingers. Sitting here looking at this water makes me think that since I've been here a year and I have not gone swimming in the water, I find that to be quite pathetic. So I know what I'm doing after this. So now we come into bound angle on this side. Not bound angle, I'm sorry, extended side angle. Getting ahead of myself. So the left forearm is barely resting on the thigh. You're using your core to lift your right arm to the sky, pushing your right, not really pushing your right side out, but your right side is working away from your left knee. And you create a stretch on the outside of the rib cage on the right side. Making sure that knee stays over the ankle. Now come back up into Warrior Two. Hips are square. Gaze over the front fingers. Now start to straighten that front leg. The torso moves as one towards the top of your mat and lower into triangle, using a block if you need it. And I'm sorry if there's any wind interference. Didn't really think of that, and I don't know, I'll adjust appropriately and figure out what I gotta do. On an inhale, come back up into Warrior Two. Just long enough to get the pose right. Start to put some weight in that back leg and step forward to the top of your mat. Now, we're going to do the tree pose on the other foot. So I'll turn and face you again. So this time, our left leg is like a lamp post. Our right leg comes in against it, putting most of our balance on the left side. And if you are comfortable with that, start to bring your foot up and try it on the inside of the calf. And if you want more of a challenge, feel free to bring your foot up above the knee, not on the knee, to the inside of the thigh. Both legs pushing in together. And if comfortable, bring your hands to heart center. Now, a good thing to do is find what's called a drishti. And that's just a point that doesn't move that you can essentially stare at, and it helps you hold your balance. Now, you try not to let your knee come in. You try to keep your hips and knees square. Now, start to come out of tree pose. As you do, take your right leg and put it behind the left. So essentially putting your right foot on the ground so the outsides of the feet are up against each other. From here, we're going to come up into high mountain on an inhale and exhale, forward fold. On an inhale, engage your core. Come back up to high mountain, uncrossing your legs, down to mountain Tadasana. Inhale, high mountain, reverse your feet, and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, come up to high mountain, and down to Tadasana mountain. Now from here, I hope you stayed at the top of your mat. If not, make your way back there. Inhale the high mountain. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, back to plank, and we are going to flow through to downward facing dog. So we're going to come into plank. We're going to inhale, start to move our body forward, and exhale, keeping our elbows in by our sides. Slowly lower down to chaturanga. Inhale into upward facing dog, and exhale into downward facing dog. Now inhale, bring your right leg high to the sky, and you're going to bring your knee to nose, and from there you're going to move into pigeon. So you're going to put your right leg down on the ground, keeping your right foot flexed. Now the idea is to try to get the lower part of your right leg parallel with the mat, but I don't know about you, but ain't nobody got time for that. So just do the best you can. Now, if you want to keep your hips square, you can take a block or a blanket or a bolster, whatever you have, and place it under that high hip if you need to. Now, kind of scissoring the hips, keeping them square. You're going to either stay here if this is enough for you, or you can start to lower down. Now, if you can't go all the way down, Then you can get a block and just rest on the block. I'm going to try to go all the way down because my hips need it. I could probably reach my hands out too if I want. This feels so good. It's not even my bad side either. Now, start to come up. And I'm feeling a little cray-cray right now. I don't even know if this is a thing. I think it might be. I don't know the pose, what it's called though. Bring your left leg back up to meet your left hand and stretch out the quad. I was filming a video yesterday and I did something similar to this and I forgot. I only did it on one side, so oops. Now you can release your left leg. You can put the block back in front of you. You might need it again. Tuck your left toe. Shoot your hips back up and come into three-legged dog. You can roll that hip out a little bit, just get all the kinks, and then step down into downward facing dog. Bring your left foot high to the sky, knee to nose, and follow through, placing the lower part of your left leg on the mat, keeping your left ankle flexed. Use a block if you need it underneath the hip. Now the back foot you want flat on the ground, knee on the ground, and just start to lower to wherever you feel comfortable. Start to make your way back up. Right hand to right ankle. A nice thigh stretch. Not as effective as at home. Still not bad. Better than nothing, right? Now release the foot. You can move the block out of the way. Hands on the mat. Tuck your back toe and come up into three-legged dog on the other side. Roll your hip around a little bit. Now come back to downward facing dog. Now you can start to make your way to your knees. And from there, come into Dandasana, staff pose. So you're going to come most of the way up to the back of your mat. Now, from here, staff pose, hands next to your hips, spine straight, ears over the shoulders. Inhale, bring your arms overhead. Exhale, start to fold forward. you're flexing your toes back towards you, and as you fold forward, you're going to find your sticking point. And from there, you can start to round. Head coming last. With every inhale, I extend, and every exhale, I fold a little bit more. Inhale, bring your arms up, and exhale, down to staff pose. Now we're going to take our right leg, we're going to put it up against the inside of our left thigh like we were in tree pose, only we're sitting. Now we're going to kind of keep our center of our chest centered on our foot that is flexed back to us. Our toes are flexed to us. We're going to bring our arms high to the sky, and the same thing. Start to fold forward until you find your sticking point, and then you can round. Head coming last. And again, inhale, you can extend. And exhale, fold a little more. Now inhale, bring your arms high up. Exhale, bring them back down to Dandasana, staff pose, and switch your legs. Arms high to the sky on an inhale. Exhale, fold until you reach your sticking point and start to round. Now, if you can't quite reach your feet, you can use a strap if you need to. And if you are really flexible and this isn't enough, you can actually put a block on the back side of your foot and reach and pull the back side of the block. But I know I'm not there. Not yet anyway. Maybe someday. Inhale, engage your core. Start to come up. And we're going to release back. We're going to start to lay down, so make sure you got enough room for your head so it's not on the floor or the ground. We're going to bring the soles of our feet in towards our glutes, and we're going to put them together and let our knees fall out to the side. Now, if this is too uncomfortable for anyone, you can put blocks on either side of your knees. You can find something to prop it up. But I find this can be painful for me, but it seems to help as well. So I just kind of let it go. It takes a while to, it takes a lot of practice to really notice the difference in this pose, but it does really help. inhale, start to engage the core and bring your knees back up. You can use your hands if you need to, some assistance. We're going to stretch out our legs to wherever they naturally land. Let our feet splay out to the side naturally. We're going to lift our shoulders a little bit so we can tuck our shoulder blades back in their pockets. Let our arms naturally fall to the side. For corpse pose, Shavasana. Now, wherever you are, start to come back in your body. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Flex your wrists and ankles. Bring your arms above your head. Reaching above your head, feet reaching in the other direction, giving yourself a nice stretch, and start to roll over to either side. Taking a couple breaths here. Start to make your way up to a comfortable cross-legged seated position. Take a deep inhale, bringing your hands to heart center. And exhale. Thank you all for coming again. It's been a pleasure. Namaste. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining me on the shore of Lake Koocanusa. If this video helped you, if you liked it, please subscribe. And if you would like to donate, you can donate at patreon.com/Humblesasquatchyoga. And I will try to add a link into the show notes. Okay? Thank you very much. Have a nice day.